Grand evening. I am Kanye Shobay, Attorney General, Mufti for AMPAC, meaning Allodium, Moorish National before Colorado. Today, we will be going over the definition of black. Why is that important? Because we were never black. Black isn't a nation. Black has no nationality. So it's very important that we understand as Moorish nationals that the definition of black has never been a positive for our people. So as you can see here from this board here, I picked the definition of black and I wrote up here, I said, are we black? At the end of the video, this is the number one question I want you to ask yourself. Are we black? Are you black? The definition of black today will be read out of the American Heritage Dictionary. You can purchase one of these. These will go online for $9 or $10. You can possibly go to a library or any bookstore and maybe get it for $20. So let's look at the definition of black and on how they describe us. Black was tabbed on us and put on us to take away our estate and to take away our nationalities. So when I look here and I look at the definition of black, this is on how they describe us in dictionaries. First definition here that I'm going to put up here. The first thing we must realize is that black is an adjective, which an adjective is my car is black, my shirt is black, okay? It's not a noun. It's not a person, place, or thing. So right off the bat, they're telling you that you are not a human being, a person with higher intellect, because in all the dictionaries, especially the American Heritage Dictionary, black comes off, is known as eight parts of speech, is known as an adjective. Number one, they describe us as cheerless and depressing. Cheerless people. Most of the times when you see us, we're having a good time. For the so-called black people, you're having a good time. But in the American Heritage Dictionary, it's saying that you are cheerless and depressing. Majority of your life, you're in lower self. You have no higher self. You're depressed. What happens to people that are depressed? They do things out of character. They go and kill their own people. They go and steal. They go gang banging, right? Bloods, Crips, cheerless, and depressing. Number two definition here. Gloomy, angered, sullen, right? You are sullen. Sullen means lower self. You don't have any higher spirit about yourself. You're angered all the time. Have you ever noticed that whenever you're out at the club or wherever you're out having a good time, you know, people say we get angry. The so-called black people, we get angry really fast. They already have put the black umbrella on us. Gloomy, anger, sullen. I'm not saying this. This isn't Kanye Shobay's book. This is directly out of the American Heritage Dictionary. And if you could go get any dictionary, this will be the definition of a person or individual calling themselves black. Number three, you'll really get a kick out of this. We are sometimes capital. What does that mean? Well, in my years, I grew up playing basketball. I grew up playing sports. I went to school on a full ride scholarship. I was sometimes capital. Everyone that's so-called calling themselves black in the NBA and saying Black Lives Matter. Black lives don't matter because black is an adjective. Black has no standing in law. So sometimes capital. Let's stay here. NBA players. Sometimes capital. Majority of the NBA, 80% of the NBA is so-called black people. Right? Majority of Major League Baseball, all the Puerto Ricans, the Venezuelans, the Colombians, those are all Moors. Those are all your people. Once again, we're sometimes capital to them. Every so often, they can make finance off of us. Yes, LeBron James is making $40 million a year, but the owner is making $4 billion a year. Sometimes capital. As we go to the NFL, right? National Football League. Sometimes capital. They probably have the most, put their lives at risk in any other sport. They get paid the least, and they have the worst contracts. Contracts. This is on what all our brothers and sisters that are playing sports, they are sometimes capital because they'll accept them because they're creating finance for the European that is actually owning the teams. Sometimes capital. This definition is right in your American Heritage Dictionary. Let's go to number 4. We talk about minimum likeness. As you know, when they say you have light, they say you have knowledge. But right off the bat, in the American Heritage Dictionary, and in most dictionaries, it says a person that's calling themselves black has minimum light, which means you have minimum knowledge. That's why sometimes they say we can't run the sports teams. We can't be the managers, right? Because we have minimum knowledge of what's going on. Because when you're calling yourself black, you don't have any knowledge. Black has no nation. Black has no rights. They're shooting people in the middle of the street that are calling themselves black. That's why the policy enforcer pulls his gun so quick, because he understands I'm already killing somebody that's already dead on paper. Maximum darkness. See, what they did is that they took us and they put us all in concentration camps. Your concentration camps are your inner city, so-called the inner city hoods. I grew up in Detroit. That's what you call the hood, the east side of Denver, where you will find the majority of the so-called black people there, right? We have minimum darkness because we're in concentration camps. A concentration camp is never light. It's always dark. They put us all in the same areas. Majority of the people here in Morocco, i.e. Colorado, all live in what you call Aurora, Colorado. Right? Minimum darkness. We're in concentration camps. Definition number 5. Indicating censure or dishonor. Any person that is calling themselves black, you are in dishonor. Why? Because you had a nation. And your nation was called the Moorish Nation, the Moroccan Empire. You dishonored your people by checking the box and saying you're black. You dishonored your people by calling your children black. You dishonored your people by not claiming your nationality and understanding of who you are. When you look in the mirror today, everyone that's watching this video, I want you to go look in the mirror and say, is my skin black? Am I a crayon? What color is your prima facie? Is your skin? It's not black. This hand isn't black. This isn't a crayon. The tip of this dry erase marker is black. This does not look like Kanye Shobe. The tip of this dry erase marker is not the same color of my skin tone. I am not black. I am not a crayon. I am a original, natural-born person, consanguinity bloodline from the Moroccan Empire. Number 6, you have zero stimula of the retina, which means you can't see. You have zero stimula of the retina. You have no knowledge. You can't see what's in front of you. You can't see the truth. Why? Because we're still calling ourselves, most of our people are still calling ourselves black. We even came to the point where we started to say, hey, black is beautiful. That's what the Europeans or the colonizers wanted. We came to the point where we said, Black lives matter. But they're still shooting the black people in the middle of the street. Black lives don't matter. Nationalities matter. Where is your bloodline? Where do you come from? That's what matters. Black lives don't matter. Nationality matters. Number 7, especially of mourning. They're saying anybody that's calling themselves black is in constant mourning. We always say we're struggling. We don't have enough finance to put in our car. We don't have enough finance to buy a home. We don't have enough finance to take our children on nice trips because we're always constantly in mourning. You're in mourning when you don't have a nationality. When you're calling yourself black, you are already in mourning. And if you're in mourning as a parent, you're teaching your children on how to be in mourning. They're going to grow up in mourning. And it's just going to keep carrying on down your bloodline. We have to get from up under the auspices of black, and we have to start to change our nationalities. If you go and take the time and read the 2010 United Nations Declaration of Rights to Indigenous People that your own President Obama signed, President Obama never called himself black. He always said, I am from Kenya. Kenya is a nation. Kenya has a flag. He never one time in the 8 years that he was your president called himself black. 2010, he signed off on the rights to indigenous people. And in Article 6, it says, every indigenous person has a right to a nationality. Nationality is the key of the day. Black is not. Next definition. Number 8, attended with disaster. Any individual that is calling themselves black is already in a disastrous situation. I'm not making this up. All you have to do, I don't want you to believe me. I'm giving you the reference points. Go read it for yourself. American Heritage Dictionary. Go get one. Order it online. $9 to $10. I'm not saying this because I want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm putting out in front on what the so-called United States thinks about you when you call yourself black. Instantly, you are attended with disaster. Number 9, little light, having no predominant hue, which pretty much means you have no value. Little light doesn't say you have maximum light. Just before it said you have minimum light. Now it's saying you have little light and have no predominant hue, which means you have no value. But you do have some type of value if you're playing in the NBA, the NFL, the WNBA. You do have some type of value. But if you're not doing that, you have no value at all. Next definition of designating a form of humor. Number 10. I want you to listen to me. Listen to me well when I say number 10. In the final definition, if you're calling yourself black, of designating a form of humor. Let's stop there. How many times have we been told they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you? When you go into the so-called European areas and you use words like black and you use words like nigger or Negro, they are laughing at you. They're saying, how can this Aboriginal indigenous human being, who is actually the landlord, his people were here first, why is he calling himself a nigger? Why is he calling himself a Negro? Why is he calling himself black? And those have no standing in law. They're shooting people that are black. They're shooting people that are calling themselves Negro. They're shooting people that are calling themselves niggas. They're laughing at you. That's why they say you are humor, or dealing with a sense of comedy of human despair and failure. Let's read it one more time. Of designating a form of humor or dealing with a sense of comedy of human despair and failure. This is on what they think about you when you're calling yourself black. It has no standing in law. It has no nationality. Now, let's go check the world map for another reference points on why you were never black. When you look over here at the world map, you can see there is 195 countries. There isn't one flag called black. There isn't one flag called African American. There is not a flag called nigger. There is not a flag called Negro. But there is a Moroccan flag over here of your consanguinity bloodline. If you can show me the flag called black, if you can show me the flag called African American, nigger, Negro, but you can't. Because there's no countries called any of those names. Because black, African American, nigger, or Negro are all artificial terms designed to take your estate, i.e. land, away from you. I hope you enjoyed the class session tonight. The biggest point was to make our people understand that we are not black. We have never been black. We have a nation, we have a nationality, and we've always been Moorish Nationals since we were born through our mothers. Hope you enjoyed your class. This is Kanye Shobe, Mufti, Attorney General for AMPAC, Elodium Moorish Radio, Ante, Colorado. Free Moorish Estate before Colorado. Peace and love. Look forward to seeing you again in my next course. Good evening. I am Kanye Shobe, Mufti, Attorney General for AMPAC, which means Elodium Moorish Radio.